Welcome to Be a Light with Mushan podcast. I'm your host, Mushan Payeski. This podcast is dedicated to spread kindness, positivity, knowledge sharing, as well as the power of authenticity and human connection. Each episode is a great reminder for all of us, no matter where we are in life, we have the power to be a light for others. And this platform is to shine on those individuals who are very inspiring and who have touched my life personally and who illuminated my journey. And I hope sharing their stories can shine your journey as well. Today, I have a special guest, Calvin Gibbs, whom I met through Toastmasters at many of the events, training events. He and his wife were so passionate to contribute to the community, and also they have a great, inspiring background and stories to share. So now let's welcome my guest, Calvin Gibbs. Welcome, Calvin.
Thank you, Ms. Zhang. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited.
It's been amazing last time when I talked to you and how inspiring and also interesting your background was from a Wall Street background to theater and now doing streaming TV. And I would love you to tell our audience a little bit about your background. It's so great
Okay.
to have you here.
Yes. Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I came of age, teenage during the 1970s. And in the area that I lived in, there was a lot of crime, there was a lot of drugs, there was a lot of gangs, there was a lot of poverty as well. But my mother always insisted that my brother and I really apply ourselves in school. So I went to one of the top high schools in the country, Brooklyn Technical High School. It's a school that specializes in different engineering courses. I was in the architectural engineering course, and there was a lot of science, a lot of math, a lot of learning. Plus, I was in an environment with people that in my neighborhood I would never come in contact with. There was a lot of Asian people, a lot of Caucasian people, and they didn't live in my neighborhood. So that was the beginning of my journey, education. And when I finished high school and graduated, I went off to a historically black college and university, uh, Delaware State University in Dover, Delaware. And there I was with a whole lot of people who looked like me, had backgrounds like me, but I wasn't comfortable. I didn't really learn anything there. I learned in high school with the diversity.
Mm.
So after I graduated college, I had to work, of course. So I went to work on Wall Street, and I could only get a job working in the mailroom. So I worked my way up, and eventually I was working with a lot of the brokers in the insurance companies on in the Wall Street area. And I became a junior underwriter, so I was in the boardrooms with them.
Mm.
And it was a very, let's shall we say, a good learning experience for me. And to this day, I learned some lessons that still stay with me. For example, I cannot be anybody else. I have to be myself. I may get a London fog trench coat I may have on a suit and tie. I may carry a attache case, but I have to still be Calvin.
Mm.
My voice, my swagger, my thinking is different
Yeah.
than what happened in those boardrooms. And I learned the hard way to be myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine everyone's journey is unique. And you're right. Everyone is taking but yourself. You just
Yeah.
have to be you. And something that you really had a great background and growing up with the diversity and also then with the people alike like you. So what brought you to theater?
Well, I when I became old enough to get a job, and I had my dispensable money, my own money, I went to a lot of plays on and off Broadway
Mm,
during during high school, and then when I came back from college, I continued to go to different Broadway and off Broadway shows. I had a connection with someone that would give me or sell me tickets for shows at a very, very low price. And I started my own little ticket business. I had
mm,
coworkers and friends, some friends that wanted to go to theater, could not afford it, and I gave them the opportunity to be able to afford that. For me myself, I was just amazed at the lights, the stage, the
mhm,
stories, the music, and I went as much as I could, as often as I could. But I never thought about getting on stage myself, Mujane. I never thought about it because I was shy. I was
mm,
scared. I didn't feel I had the background to be able to do that, and I didn't. So in 1996, something sometimes in life you get a feeling that you're supposed to do something and it
mm,
doesn't make sense. It's like, why do I have this urge to move to Chicago? I don't have friends there. I don't have family there, but I had this feeling that I had to do it. So I went back and forth between New York and Chicago, and I found a job in Chicago area, and I packed up everything I owned one day, and I moved. And my family was not happy about that because they wanted to have access to me, of course, but I had to venture out on my own, and it wasn't easy when you have only yourself to depend on.
mhm,
And if you can't do it, we talk about sink or swim. If you can't do it, you're going to sink. So I learned how to navigate around Chicago. Um, I lived in a suburb of Chicago, so I learned how to take uh, the Pace bus into the city, and when I got to the city, how to get on the subway and the L and things like that. And I didn't really think about theater when I first got here. I had a lot going on.
yeah.
So I joined the church that had a drama ministry. And during that Christmas time, they were doing a version of the Christmas story with Scrooge and the three ghosts. And I volunteered to work the curtains just to get to know some people in the church. So at one rehearsal, the gentleman that had the lead, Scrooge, did not show up for rehearsal, and they asked me, "Hey, guy on the curtains, can you read this part for this rehearsal?" And I did. And the next rehearsal, he didn't show up again. Well, I put a little bit more into the reading of the part, and I ended up getting the part, and I got bit by the acting bug, as they say. And then I started realizing why I went to so much theater in New York. It was something that I wanted to do. So I went to Columbia College in Chicago, took some acting courses. I went around Chicago sitting in on auditions. I didn't audition myself until I felt I had the process right. And
Mm-hmm.
then I auditioned and started getting parts and found myself on stage, in different scenes, often by myself doing monologues. And it was great. I felt that I had found my passion. My
Mm-hmm.
passion was using words and talking to people. And it's a good feeling. They say there's two good days in your life, the day that you were born, and then the day you realize why. Well, when I realized why, it was something I had never experienced before.
Yeah.
Being on stage made me feel free.
Mm.
Talking and making that connection with the audience made me understand what all these actors that I saw on Broadway, I saw a lot of famous actors, and the connection that they made from the stage to me in the audience. And now I was able to try to do the same thing. It was great. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. It seems like naturally transitioned, and but because you said yes to support the play and being part of it, sometimes we don't know what that one yes can lead us to, and
That is,
apparently, yeah, that yes and the curtain drawn and saying yes to say the lines just brought
yes,
you to such a bigger stage. Now,
yes,
I have noticed you are not shy anymore in front of a crowd. Instead, you embrace the crowds, embrace this perhaps natural nerves we have to deal with. And would you mind to share about your public speaking journey? Because what I know about you is through Toastmasters, and I have seen you doing a lot of training, a lot of podcasting, and you even mentioned that you did a radio show. So tell me a little bit about your journey, how you get to the public speaking and also radio show and podcast fields.
okay. Well, for me, while I was doing theater, I had the opportunity to have an internet radio show. And because I was into theater, my show was called Drama Talk Radio, and I interviewed every Sunday in their studios somebody from Chicago theater, either actors, writers, directors, producers. And then I started branching out to other people doing the same thing, but around the country. And I started to learn the power of words, how to just interview people, how to be my authentic self. No longer was I on stage with a script, a character that I had to portray. Now I could be Calvin and talk one on one to people, and I enjoyed it. It also gave me the opportunity to record on Sunday and then listen to myself the entire week and try to listen for those imperfections of speech that we all have. You know what I mean, the Toastmasters, the ahs, the ums, the ands, the pauses, and things like that. And I worked at it for almost 5 years on that radio show. And during that time, I joined Toastmasters in 2013 and started competing in speech contest in 2015, learning how to uh, put myself in a position to actually win a speech contest. And I did pretty good. I don't compete anymore. It's not my cup of tea, but I've learned the power of words. Words can make people laugh, they can make people cry, they can build people up, they can kick people down. and I try to use my words to speak life to
Mm,
people. I try to use my words to empower people, to motivate people, because I see what it's done for my journey. And come on, we live in a world where the world wants us to be quiet. The world wants us to not go against the grain, don't cause any waves. And now that I found my voice, that's not who I am. I probably won't be out protesting, marching and screaming in the streets, but I will use whatever my platform is to promote what I think is fair in
mm,
diversity, equity, and inclusion. There's a lot of people that are not using their voice and they're not being seen,
mm,
whether they are just regular people or maybe they have a disability. There's a lot of people out there that are not being seen and they have stories to tell us. We can learn from their stories. So, what I try to do is empower them, encourage them to tell their story, whether it be verbal, whether it be write a book. Tell your story in a book. Somebody's going to read that book. Somebody needs to hear your story and they will
mhm,
be encouraged. And then they can take that and go encourage somebody else and somebody else. So that's basically what I try to do in life these days. Use the
yeah.
power of words.
I love that. I agree 100% power of words. And that's also this podcast platform was born. Basically, started from myself to practice my public speaking skills and language skills, as English is my second language. And I have been always subconscious about my language ability. I have this imposter syndrome just putting me down. However, this platform not only uplifted myself, most importantly, because of the other people like you and yourself,
Hmm.
inspiring people, sharing the stories and shining on the stage, really
Uh,
uplifts to me. And the word power of words are incredibly so important in life. I totally agree. Words can build you up or tear you down. I'm so glad that yeah, we have this definitely in common and doing the similar things. And uh,
yes.
I have so much to learn from you. So, since you talked about the power of words, do you have any stories or examples that you uplift someone or impacted their lives because of the use of the power of words that you apply.
Well, well, I do, but before I answer that question, I
Hmm.
want to go back to something that you say that I don't seem shy anymore. I
Yeah.
still am, I still am shy. Um, when I've had a chance over the last 10 years before the pandemic to have a part in a play, and I still have the butterflies in my stomach, the nervousness in my
Hmm.
stomach. Even today, before coming on with you, I was coming down into my office and getting the lights set up and everything, and I started feeling that urge in my stomach, that tightening, that
Yeah.
that nervousness.
Hmm.
But I've learned to push it aside. There's a place for that, and when I begin to speak, that's not the place for it. So
Hmm.
it still does exist. I still consider myself to be shy.
Yeah.
If
That's
I'm
beautiful. Yeah.
if I'm in a party and there's a lot of people and somebody is the center of attention, they can have it. I don't want it. I'll
Mm.
sit in the corner and speak when somebody speaks to me, and I'm good with that.
Mm.
Remember Michael Jackson? He was
Mm.
always so soft spoken, and then when he got on stage, he turned into another person.
Yeah.
That's that's the kind of a persona I think that I have.
Mm,
I like to be quiet and soft spoken, but then when I get on stage and I only have a certain amount of time to make that connection with the audience, I go for it.
mm.
So
Yeah,
now you asked about,
once you keep the audience, your messages in mind, that's the focus of your action. And being nervous is something, as we said, because you care. And the more you do it, and also once you started speaking, yeah, that nervous feeling actually fades away.
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Now you asked the question about if I uh, talk about when I have inspired someone or motivated someone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in Toastmasters, my wife and Sonia and I were part of a club in our district, District 30, where we were President's Distinguished for 9 years in a row with all 10 points. That means the highest that a club can achieve. It's like getting an A plus on your report card. And we
Yeah.
was able to put a process in place and do that continuously for 9 years. During that time, we had a lot of members where English was their second language, and we helped them, we mentored them. Some of them even competed in speech contests and placed first, second, and third. They did well. So in those examples, I think that shows the type of leadership that motivating someone, inspiring someone, and believing that they can do it, or
Mm.
helping them believe that they can do it, is what I did. And although we've moved on from that club, some of those people that were in the club, they're friends for life now. Some of them have moved up the ranks in their jobs, and they always remember my wife and I during the holiday times and send us cards and little gifts because they appreciate what we shared with them. So
Yes.
that's one story.
Yeah, thank you. That's amazing. Just the words you spoke with me, they carry weight and they carry power and they inspire me. And the authenticity and the vulnerability that you just a few moments ago you shared about the butterflies and nervousness, that all are very powerful and inspiring. So thank you for being Calvin, the unique you, to share those words and stories and messages. And yes, in Toastmasters, definitely I relate so much because my home club, Excel Toastmasters, also has been distinguished 4 years in a row since I took the uh, leadership role as the president of the club. And I do feel a sense of pride by leading the club. Although it's small, it carries every organization's mechanism, I think, all the organizational and leadership
Mhm.
skills to manage it. Thank you for sharing your experience and for empowering others, and especially empowering those who are like me, speaking English as a second language. Having your acceptance and encouragement definitely help so much. Since you love theater and the arts, what's the most valuable lesson you learned from that theater and the arts in terms to life?
I would say, and that's a very good question. I would say that in life or in theater, don't just watch, don't just be on the sidelines watching. Engage, speak, share. your story, reflect, but most of all, engage. Most of all, engage. I tell our Toastmaster officers in trainings all the time, engage with your club members. Don't let them think that you're high and mighty because you're an officer, because you're not. You are there to help guide them, to help them use the resources and to strategically move the club into a place where they can be distinguished or better. And you have 12 months to do that each Toastmasters year. So my advice is for life and for theater and for anything that it is that you want to do. Don't stay on the sidelines watching. Do
Mm-hmm.
your research.
Yeah.
Find a mentor if this is something you want to do. Some of us are teachers, so teachers have to teach. Some of us are speakers, and we have to speak. Some of us are uh, personal trainers, so we have to work out, in order to help other people work out. So whatever it is, don't stay on the sideline. Be engaged, speak, engage, and share.
Mm.
That's my advice.
I love that message. Being an inspector or other side person who just observes is totally different from being someone who is in the arena and really being part of that group or
Hmm.
the yeah all the events. Uh, and and being the most engaged usually learn the most or gain the most. Of course, we need to gain active listening skills. So being a good evaluator or being a good supporter is important part of it. But that's still part of engaging. That's
Right.
yeah, another method of engaging. I totally agree. Just engage. Don't stand by the sideline. Thank you for such a lesson that we can apply that to life. And so I heard that you are going to launch your streaming TV show. Would you mind to share a little bit about that concept and all your plan, all this goal and mission?
Sure. I am so excited. This is like, I hate to say, but it's like when you expect a child to be born and you're
Yeah.
getting close to the time. I can definitely relate to that. Um, this has been almost 7 months in the planning, and it's going to launch on Monday, September 8th.
Mm,
Next week, September 6th, we're going to have a virtual launch party, and then we're going to go out to dinner and have a dinner party as well. The show is called Born to Speak to You, my company, and you see in back of me,
mm,
TV, and it's going to be on Diamond Factor Network. It's going to be covered. Uh, it's going to stream on Apple TV, Roku, and Fire TV. And the idea didn't just come from, the desire to be on camera. It grew from years of speaking, years of coaching, and most importantly, you just mentioned it, listening.
mm,
To be a good communicator, you have to be a good listener. And as a theatrical actor, director, writer, and producer, I've learned the importance of words. So now it's time to take it to a bigger stage, if you will, and have people watch it from all over.
mm,
My word when 2025, when this year started, I decided to give myself a word for the year. That word was visibility. I
mm,
wanted more visibility. And this show is going to give me that. The show is going to, the motto of the show is let's speak life into the moments that matter. We all have moments of life that are important to us, whether it's
Yeah.
the birth of a child, whether it's going for a new job and you're sitting there being interviewed for the job. It happens all day, every day. And if you speak life into those moments, it gives you the balance that you need to be successful in those moments. It may not always work out, but there's a lesson even in that. Um, I've learned through coaching
Mm.
that a lot of people just need to believe in themselves. They already have the intestinal fortitude, it's already inside of you, but sometimes the coach has to help bring it out.
Mm. Yeah.
Through my show, I want to have different experts on for different topics. It's going to be communication, of course, leadership, of course. I will also videotape some of my workshops and put them on there as well. But we're going to learn more about areas like project management.
Mm.
Even in Toastmasters, I use project management
Mm-hmm.
skills that I taught myself to get things done in different projects in Toastmasters, and that's important when you work for the district.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for example, but also we're going to have uh, people on that are writers that are telling their stories, and we're going to have publishers on there. There's a company that they want authors that have unique stories, not the big book publishers, but
Mm-hmm.
somebody that is unknown that has a family story, for example, how the family struggled. Yes, came from another country, struggled to get here, struggled when they got. That's the type of company that's coming on, and we're just going to speak life into the moments that matter.
Mm.
And by doing that, we hope we can be a light
Mm. Yeah.
for those that need to find their way.
Wow. Sounds very, very exciting. And immediately I was going to promote myself because I I am going to publish the book Escape, originally written by my second sister, then I co-authored and translated and edited with her. It's all about my family. It's about my elder sister's story, but it's kind of a family story. So, so if you are
Okay.
looking for someone, yeah, definitely I'm raising my hand. So
Okay. All right.
yeah, that sounds very, very exciting. Speaking life, I think that is the biggest topic that you can actually excite the audience to, because the ordinary life, everyday life that we are dealing with is something actually can inspire people the most, because we, many of us, consider life as just ordinary. So from those topics and TV shows about life, I'm sure you will make a great impact on people and the society.
Well, I hope so. That's the plan. And for me, this is different because, when you're on stage in theater, you have a script. So
Mm,
that's the person that you're creating for the play. With the internet radio show, nobody ever saw my face. On the
mm,
podcast, it's only audio, so they never saw my face. Now they're going to see me as well as hear me.
mm,
And there's been a lot of things for me to learn about being visual.
mm,
And I'm glad that I took the time in these last um, 3 months, especially, to learn how to work with lighting, how to work with sound, how to work with uh, even my clothes, to make
Mm,
sure that I present myself as best as possible.
mm.
If people think you look good and you sound good, they might believe you, and and that's the impact I want. I want people to believe in what I'm saying and let that impact their lives.
Yeah, wow. So what's the difference between, for example, the podcast that now I'm recording, which will be visual, will be video and also audio, and what's the difference between your streaming TV and this? I just want to learn.
Well, okay. Well, a lot of podcasts, especially when they first started, they were
Mm,
only audio.
mm,
All the podcasts that I've been associated with, my podcast, have only been audio, and that's fine. Uh,
mm-hmm,
yours is video as well, but I had never done that before.
mm, I
So
see.
this is my first time uh, doing uh, a show where people can see me.
Mm,
So
okay.
I just have to make sure that gestures, clothing, lighting, everything is perfect. And there was a learning curve,
Yeah,
and I love that because I love when I learn something new in a day. It to me that's a great day. That's a good day. I
yeah.
learned something new today, and there was a lot to learn. There's
Mm-hmm,
also timing because there's there's sponsor commercials
mm,
that's going to play. And you have to, I mean, you only have 60 seconds for that commercial. And when it comes back, you have to be ready to go.
mm.
So
Wow.
doing the different segments uh, with the exact time, that was another thing that was hard for me. But I think I know I've got it much better now.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so much behind the scenes. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
especially for streaming TV because it's kind of live, it's hard. You have to have everything like so precise.
yes. And if you want to get sponsors,
Mm,
then you have to have, several months worth of episodes that are good so that people are tuning in. The marketing has to be good so that you can show the sponsor, hey, these are my numbers,
mm,
and this is what I'm asking you to invest in my company, in my
mm,
TV show.
mm.
So I'm glad that I was able to do the prep work up
Yeah.
front to get ready for that. And then hopefully on the back end, the sponsors will like it as well.
Yeah, I wish you great success. It's definitely
Thank you.
you prepared well. You have your logo designed so professionally, and everything seems to be in the right place for you to launch.
Well, as I said, I've worked hard at this. I put in a lot of hours. And even though sometimes, sometimes uh, when you are the motivator, sometimes you need motivation as well. There's
Mm-hmm.
been times I've been discouraged and
Yeah,
upset, angry even that it wasn't going as fast as I wanted it to go.
yeah,
And my wife always reminded me,
yeah,
stay the course, calm down. Things are going to work out as they always do,
yeah.
but you need to be fully there to take advantage.
Mm,
And if
that's
I'm
true.
angry, if I am putting myself in front of the project, my feelings, then I'm not being open. So I
Yeah,
have to be open to learn things to make it work. So
yeah,
I'm learning too. I'm still
yeah.
a work in progress.
Definitely. Learning is the everyday thing. Even yesterday, I learned some new words, and, yeah, which
Mm,
excited me. And so, actually, there's one burning question. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask you. I heard a lot of systemic like discrimination. Many people don't even believe that. I just wonder if you are open to share whether you have experienced any of the challenges in life growing up. I mean, if you are not comfortable to share, I'm totally
No,
okay.
nope,
I just realized
nope.
that the sharing the vulnerability and authentic stories truly can inspire others.
Well, I am not afraid to talk about that. Um, while my mother was raising two boys in the ghetto of Brooklyn, New York, my father was fighting his own drug demons.
Mm,
Yes. So we had to deal with that. It broke the family up, but it taught me lessons because he wasn't there to be the man of the household. That was left up to the oldest son. That was me. And that was hard. But as I said, I was involved in my books and learning. And, he eventually died from drugs as a result of that. And there's a place for that, in your life, tragedy and being overcoming tragedy. I feel that my brother and I, with my mother's help, was able to actually overcome all of that.
mm,
I am pretty sure nobody from my neighborhood has a streaming TV show.
mm,
Very few people from my neighborhood um, was able to, it, if they lived long enough to be able to have a podcast, a successful podcast, or to be a distinguished Toastmaster three times over.
mm,
So I feel that I've overcome some of that. Now you talked about racial discrimination.
mm,
As a person that grew up in the ghetto, by the time I got to college, I was in my I think I was done with college. I was in my middle 20s. I found out that certain governments, state governments, actually track the students' grades when they come from districts that are poor, crime ridden, gang ridden, and they track the scores of the students to see how many jails they have to build when these kids become adults.
mm.
Because from their grades, they can tell who's going to be a possibility, a good possibility of being a criminal.
Oh,
And they wanted to have the jails ready for them in advance. So these are some of the things that you had to overcome. I talked about working on Wall Street, and there was discriminations there as well. Certain what they call jokes, I call them microaggressions. Uh,
mm-hmm,
they would make comments, and as a black man in America, you learn how to choose your fights.
mm,
You can't fight, you should not fight each and every situation that comes up.
yeah,
But when the right one to fight comes up, you'll know it
mm,
because you'll be like, this is one I cannot let go. And you fight accordingly.
mm,
Oftentimes it's not always physical, but if you have a platform, if you have words that you can use, if you have even access to write a book, that's ways to fight as well.
mm,
And it took me a while to learn that. I never have been to jail, thank God for that. However, I've been in situations where I could have been arrested uh, for nothing, basically, uh, all because of being black. Um, I've lived in a suburb, southwest suburb of Chicago, and
mm,
recently my wife and I saw people driving by in their truck with a flag on the back that uh, was dedicated to the president, current president of the United States.
mm,
And the other flag had something about hanging the N word, hanging
mm,
niggers. Yeah.
oh,
And we couldn't believe it. This was
yeah,
in a major suburb of Chicago.
yeah,
And it just let us know that although our block is cool and we have nice neighbors and everything like that. There still are people that are thinking back in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s and would like to harm us if
Mm,
they ever had that opportunity. So that's
yeah.
part of dealing with it. Having visibility as an intelligent, outgoing black man, I think that's another way that I fight racism and discrimination.
Yes. Yeah. You are a powerful representative of your people and you represent very well. And thank you for sharing your experience. The reason I know this is a kind of very touchy topic, and even my platform is not about politics, but I have the courage to ask this type of questions, and this because I grew up in the rural China area. Even my skin is just a little darker than most of Chinese. I experienced discrimination based on my gender and also my skin color. Yeah, not in the United States, but in China. However, I totally believe many people actually experienced some unfairness just because of their race and the color of their skins. I just want you to be courageously to share your experience and to tell people if they experience that they are not alone. So thank you, Calvin, to share that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And that's another reason why my podcast, Diverse Talking Heads, which is found on all major podcast platforms, was founded in 2021. If you
Mm,
remember 2020, there was a lot of racial um,
yeah.
distress in the country. And I said, I got to do something, to use my platform to try to help. I
Mm,
believe that a lot of times people have misconceived notions about people because they don't know them.
yeah.
They never had the opportunity to learn from them.
Yes.
So, Diverse Talking Heads is a panel discussion every episode. We talk about something that's going on, and we talk about it from a diverse point of view. There's
Yes.
diverse panelists, and we've covered like so much in the 4 years the podcast has been in existence, and I'm proud of that, um, because somebody needs to hear it. If somebody can learn that maybe I'm not that different from them,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we have the same likes or dislikes, there's some common ground to build a relationship on right there. And if
Yes.
we can do that, then maybe the world will be a little better. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to solve the world's problems, just trying to make it a little better. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yes. Yeah, we do our part. When we are not able to change the entire world at once, at least we can take the action to lead towards that kind of a
Right.
reality that we want to live in. So, as we are wrapping up our conversation, are there any final advice or wisdom of words you would like to share?
I would say to the audience, as the title says, be a light. Be a light. Your story is your superpower. Everyone has a story. I don't care who you are or where you came from, you have a story. So tell your story because it's your superpower. You survived something that someone else is still going through. And your truth about your journey has the power to free other people. Isn't that amazing? So every chance you get, be a light.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a very powerful. I agree. Everyone has the power to be a light to others. So use your light and be kind to yourself and others and share the positivity and the compassion with the people around you and be a light. So thank you, Calvin, for being a light on my show. And it's been a great pleasure to have
Yeah,
this conversation with you.
yes, Mujang, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun. And if you ever need me to come back again, I'm always willing. And hopefully, you'll be on some of my projects coming up as well. So, thank you again.
Yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, wish you great success in your streaming TV. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. For our audience, if you find this episode inspiring, please share, like, and even rate. And this platform is a great way to share with the people around you whom you care because you don't know. Maybe one idea, one story from the people who are inspiring, like my guests, can change their lives. So thank you for listening. See you next time.